Good morning. Coming to you today from a surprisingly chilly Costa, Mexico. Usually I try to do a little research on these places before I show up, but candidly I thought it might be fun to hit this one with a little less background, a little less research, and maybe be a little bit more organic with reactions. So that's what we're doing today. I can certainly tell you that this is one of the quieter cruise ports that I've been to. It's certainly one of the less developed. But today we're going to check out the town, tour, and we're going to check out the beach, and well, I'm just hoping that you'll be kind enough to join us today as we do just a little Splorin.
Splorin!
We do have some armed guards with semi-automatic weapons coming towards us. That's a departure from the usual ports that we go into. Usually when I come out and do these things, there's a few things in the distance I can identify. This time I'm only really identifying one piece, and that is the white lighthouse in the distance, which is a very modern looking white lighthouse. Light lighthouse? Light White House? Well, it's tall. A big, tall thing with it's got a light on it. I have to say, it is very pristine out here, and there's not a whole lot of civilization to speak of right here. Looks like our ship, the Wonder of the Seas, is the only one in port today. We'll see if that lasts. The port itself looks to be kind of an interesting mix. I'm seeing some, fairly modern buildings that have been done over to look like they are, Mayan, I'd say, in nature. There's a lot of thatched roofs and tiki-esque bars, the Caribbean type of tiki. There's seems to be like a ropes course or something like that over there. I'm also seeing a lot of pirate type things. So, pirates, Mayans, and sort of that nondescript tiki that everybody who has a beach embraces. It's beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. Just stepping into the port, I think that would be Frida over there on the wall. It's not specifically called out, but it certainly looks like Frida. Obviously, a lot of tours that you can pick up here, even if you don't have already pre-scheduled tours on your docket. You got pre-booked tours, shore excursions, tour parking, beach break, book now, and last-minute tours is your sign options here. Right here would be where you load up for your tours. I am Zone 1 today, and over there you can be, I don't know, maybe sacrificed? This is kind of interesting. This building here, and actually you see goes back quite a ways, reminds me a lot of the Aztec Pyramid in Mexico, Epcot, Mexico. This is more authentic in that it is truly in Mexico, and less authentic in the fact that it's just less authentic. Just walked into the interior of the pyramid area. They've got some faux wildlife going here, and of course duty-free liquor. I do have to say that I like the tables in here. This is definitely not what I expected. Ah, there we go, Diamonds International. Now we are truly at a port. Looks like they're doing a ceremony of some sort over here. Of course, the ceremony I'm watching also includes the man walking around with the bowl, I believe, collecting tips, which was probably not a genuine part of the original ceremony. Whoa. Definitely one of the more interesting ports that I've been into. That is easily the second largest Jaguar head that I've seen today. The theming here is fantastic, especially when you consider that the budget being used probably isn't, oh my gosh, look at that. Alright, that guy can collect all the tips he wants. Wow. Not for nothing. You don't get that in the Bahamas. And if you do see something like that, you should probably leave. Looks like they got some tropical birds up there. Go across this bridge. I believe that is one of those fish spas where you put your feet into the tanks and the fish eat all the dead skin off of you, which is, I'm told, quite an experience. It's called the Piranha Fish Spa. I'm not sure that would be a selling point in the US, but when in Rome. This just kind of keeps going over here, by the way. More of that bridge area looks like it goes up to a larger area. I think it might be a bird habitat. Aviary, if you will. Looks like the aviary goes all the way across here too. It just, I think it might really be on top of everything here. Looks like we found the beginning of the aviary tour. Walking on air. 14 bucks for adults, 12 for kids. Free flying, 8 bridges, 2 scenic views, 8 habitats, and quite literally, in this case, a partridge in a pear tree. And parrots, apparently. Partridges and parrots. First stop of the day is that big white light that I pointed out earlier. It's the Mahahual Lighthouse, and I'm not saying that quite correctly, but there's a trilling involved that I'm just not capable of. The entire city, by the way, is not called Costa Maya. That's just the name of the port. It is Mahahual. As you can see, there's a sign over there with a fish on top of it, and that will tell you how to spell it, but certainly not how to pronounce it. We aren't going inside of it, and from the look of things, I don't even know that you really can do much inside of it. We're just kind of looking at it. Surrounding the area, of course, we have some of the locals selling things, magnets, hats, dream catchers. There's a gentleman over there blowing into a conch shell. Of course, you got some of the ships in the background. When we landed, there was only us. Looks like there's a smaller ship that has pulled into port since then. I can't quite tell what it is. Also explained to us while we were pulling in that the reason we saw the Marines earlier today over at the port, which, by the way, the port is that direction. The reason we saw the port Marines is because they're there to stop people from pulling things out of the water or putting things into the water or the mangroves that can harm the ecosystem. Specifically, I understand the Caribbean lobster, the blue marlin, the black marlin, and a couple of other things in the water. I believe I see a turtle over there too. I do have to say, this is the most beautifully pristine area of Mexico I've been to. As always in all these ports in Mexico, there's a lot of poverty, unfortunately. And if I'm being entirely honest, I am one of those people who has a really hard time not letting it sink in a lot, but just support the local economy while you can, I suppose. I'd like to point out over here they have a whole bunch of carvings that you could buy from the local artisans, including the truly authentic Mexican experience of Groot. Objects in the mirror may appear more authentic than they are. Walking down here to look at some of the other booths, they too have Groot, so Groot, very popular in Mexico, I'm guessing. Or maybe they just think that Americans love Groot, which, I mean, candidly, we do. That doesn't strike me as being particularly safe. Seeing as I'm already stocked up on Groot statues, it's back to the bus. Stop number 2 today, we are at a tequila distillery. Looks like we got a little bit of a garden of sorts here.
Welcome, familia.
Ah, yes.
Hola.
It's the hole.
We are 6 hours flying from Jalisco. There are no tequila factories here in Mahahual, Cozumel, Cancun, Playa del Carmen, nowhere around the Caribbean. Everything is coming from Jalisco. It's just like champagne in France, that if it's made out of champagne, it's called sparkling wine. Tequila, if it's made out of Jalisco, it's called agave distill, all right? There is a reason why Jalisco is 2,500 meters above the level of the sea. It's part of a huge volcanic area, and it has the perfect soil to grow this plant right in here, the agave tequilana Weber. There's where tequila name is coming from. This is also known as a blue agave plant, all right? There might be the confusion starting because there are around 280 types of agaves all over the world. Aloe vera is a type of agave which is good for the hair, the body, the skin, digestion, not to make alcohol at all. Pineapple plant, which gives us the pineapple fruit, is also a type of agave. I don't know if that you knew that from the skin of the pineapple you can make vinegar, you can make alcohol. There are the green agaves like espadín, tobalá, cupiatra. Those are for making mezcal. Mezcal is the alcohol that comes with the worm inside of the bottle. There are other agaves for medicinal purpose, like the purple we see on the back right in there. That's the oyster agave. It has medicinal purpose. So, well, of the 280 types of agaves, 150 are natives from Mexico. And pretty much 100 of them, we can use them to make a type of alcohol. But the only one that when it grows in Jalisco, give us a starch, yeast, and sugar enough to make alcohol by itself or sugar by itself is this one right in here. Remember, it has to grow back in Jalisco, all right? The reason is that Jalisco is a volcanic area, as I say. So the soil has the perfect soil to give us starch, yeast, and sugar. What we have to do, we let it grow 10 to 12 years. I'm talking the plant is gonna look like a 9 feet tall aloe vera. Then with the coa, we're gonna cut off all the leaves and take just the heart of the plant, the middle of the plant, a huge pineapple that grows in there. There's where the juice is concentrated. The leaves are pure fiber. We use it to make hats, belts, sandals, robes, and other stuff, but not tequila. The root, we don't kill it. It's like aloe vera plant. The same root is gonna give us like 30 babies around, all right? So well, after we harvest, once we get the pineapple, we're talking this will be like 300, 400 pounds around. For every 20 pounds, we're gonna get a liter of alcohol. So per plant, we're getting around 20, 25 liters. After we harvest, we're gonna cook them in an underground pit like this one right in here. We put wood on fire, we cover it with volcanic rocks. Then we put the agaves, and in the top we put banana leaves and agave leaves. A slow steam cooking for 6 to 7 days. Then the starch becomes sugar and all the sugar gets caramelized. It's gonna be sweet, it's gonna be soft. We can even grab a piece of the pineapple and chew it. It tastes kind of like agave syrup. I don't know if you ever try agave syrup. Some of you, all right. Agave syrup is known as a sugar-free sweetener. Doctors actually recommend it a lot for diabetic people, or if you're in any type of diet that you don't want to consume sugars, agave syrup is the healthiest choice to consume. Here's the thing, it's not sugar-free. It does have sugar, but it's the same sugar of the plant, of the blue agave. The sugar that this plant produces is very refined, that go easily through our body, and the system doesn't assimilate as a glucose or as a carb. It doesn't stay not even 6 to 8 hours in our body. That's why it's that healthy, all right? So well, after we cook them, once that they're sweet, we're gonna mash them in a grainer like this one right in here with the big circle and the rock. The one we have back in the factory, being honest with you, is like the triple size of that, all right? The masher rock is something like this tall, all right? And what we do, we put the agaves inside, and with the big rock, we just press them to take the juice. The juice we recollect, we separate 10% to caramelize it and make the syrup. 90% we ferment it in a wood container with a little bit of water, 14 up to 60 days. After the fermentation, we're getting an alcohol called mosto. That's the way that the people used to drink it. We're talking back in the 14th century, 15th century, and starting the 17th century, we start distilling the tequila, all right? Distillation process is in a copper alembic, like that one right in there. That's the same process for the still. Whiskey, vodka, rum, tequila, beer, moonshine, pisco, pitorro, caña, all the still liqueurs goes through that system. How does it work? We boil the fermentation to separate the pure alcohol and left the impurities in the other side. We make a triple distill to get a high quality tequila. After the triple distill, we get our first bottle, the tequila blanco, the silver tequila. Once we have with the blanco tequila, we're gonna start to age them in a wood barrels. We reuse American white oak whiskey barrels, American white oak bourbon barrels, and a French oak cognac barrels. We refire them from inside, and the new charcoal in there will give the color and the taste to the tequila. So the longer that we keep them in there, they're gonna get darker, older, smoother, and better. Just like whiskey, bourbon, cognac, the longer in the barrel, the better they are. Today we're gonna have the chance to try my very best tequila, which is a family reserve of 24 years in a French cognac barrel. It's a pretty dark bottle tequila, all right? So well, my friends, any questions so far? Ready to taste? Excelente, vámonos. Let's keep looking, guys.
There it is. Makes me a little misty. The holes of Mexico. My brother-in-law, Eric.
Swallow. Inhale, nose. Exhale, now.
First impressions?
Very
good. Smooth.
But it doesn't let the
All right, that was the 18-year-old barrel. I'm sorry, the 18-year tequila, aged in a American barrel of whiskey. This one is, I believe they said 24 years aged in a French cognac oak barrel.
Now, oh my God, I love my job.
Differences? A
A little spicier.
little spicier?
Yes, sometimes.
Like caramel and vanilla almost.
Caramel and vanilla, okay.
That goes on easier, guys.
Now they are sharing the tamarind flavored one, which I don't think I've ever actually had straight tamarind. I've just had tamarind and some hot sauces. It's a sweet and sour sauce.
It has a very unique flavor. And thanks to
sweet
that, you
tart.
can easily mix it with
Good?
pineapple
Yes.
juice, mango juice.
All right, the next one up is coffee with vanilla and cinnamon, and of course tequila.
If I had this at home, I would put it in my coffee before going to work. That would be a problem.
I believe the last one today is they are sharing passion fruit tequila.
You like the
You
tamarind
can actually see
better?
the seeds of the passion fruit in the bottle.
Passion fruit?
How's the nose on it?
Interesting.
Right.
Very fruit heavy. Tastes like Zobi.
How was the passion fruit?
In a good way or a bad way?
In a good way.
Compares favorably. Fantastic. They are sharing a guava / passion fruit one, but I don't believe Eric is going to try this one, so we'll live vicariously through others. Although I've been wrong before.
Guava passion fruit.
It should be interesting because you said you are generally not huge on guava.
Right. It's a little different than the passion fruit. Still, the passion fruit's a little stronger on the nose.
You'll be dancing like Susie Gonzalez.
Guava's interesting on the back end.
At the end.
Leaves a little in aftertaste.
All right, salud.
Preferable or not so preferable?
Not preferable, but
From the whole
not
four
bad.
flavors.
A little different than what we usually do here on Splorin, but edutainment, right? Got some people selling right over here. Got the gift store over here. Usual. Morning. I could finally get that accordion or the bobblehead Gene Simmons. So, the real, authentic Mexican experience, obviously. Got a lot of tamarind things here in Mexico, obviously. Tamarind, watermelon candies. Different flavors than what you would find in the U.S., obviously. A lot of shot glasses and magnets and Wookiees. Bitches for life. All you need is weed. Yeah, I mean, your time. Stay classy, Mexico. Got some of the oak barrels over there, I believe. They're props, obviously. But I believe she said that those were akin, at least in terms of the way that they look, to the oak barrels that they use for the 18 year on the bottom. There's a really big part of me that wants to buy that accordion and just drive everybody on the bus nuts for the next 2 hours. Unfortunately, my wife made me promise no more international incidents for the rest of the trip. I believe this is our final stop on the tour. This is Blue Cay. It's a beach, but it's also sort of a local tourist trap, as I understand. It was explained that blue is, of course, English for blue, while K, in this case, is K-A-Y, is a Mayan word for fish, so it's blue fish. I guess that changes your viewing experience. Interesting, if nothing else. A rather large iguana over there, just kind of chilling out. As always, amazing architecture. Sometimes for one reason, sometimes for the next. We have reached the beach bar, which smells appropriately like Mexican food. And of course, there are plenty of vendors to greet us. Eco Hotel. Interesting.
I don't know what that means.
We are being handed scraps of paper. I'm assuming that they are fortunes like fortune cookies.
It seemed culturally appropriate.
We have regular Coca-Cola and Sprite. But if you guys are drinking
Oh, drink tickets. I guess it's not a fortune. Oh well. So as part of this tour, you get a couple of drinks. There are choices of water or Fresca, or I believe Corona, strangely, as well as some chips and salsa that you can taste over there. I'm not really in any particular rush to do that, so I'm going to let the line die down and just kind of see what there is to see. I can tell you right off the bat that those blue lines out there are they're kind of like the border of what we can and cannot swim in. As I understand, right past there is the reef, and they're trying to keep people off of it because every time you touch the reef dies. I mean, not you personally. Yes, if you touch the reef, it would die too. But it could be I can touch the reef. Death either way. It's that whole reef death touch that we have. Feeling of power. We'll say this is an absolutely beautiful sandy beach. Water is kind of I don't know, turquoise maybe? Blue Cay, playa familiar, no nudistas, niños en el área. Contamos con su respeto y tolerancias. Mucho gracias. So, leave your tops on. There's kids here. I believe this area, while still part of Blue Cay, is perhaps reserved for somebody else. It looks like they kind of reserve the different areas for different tours. There's a fairly large gray iguana over there, just chilling. I'm looking at him, he's looking at me. Little distrust you can see in the eyes, but I'm not going to go grab him. Hopefully he's not going to come grab me. They got the eco cabins, or eco cabins, I suppose you could call it, over here. I'm not entirely sure what makes them eco cabins. I'm guessing a lack of utilities probably plays into it, but I could be wrong. They look like they'd be fun though. Primitive camping in a tiny house. I'm a big fan of tiny houses. Happy dog. Here's the Eco Resort, Eco Hotel. You know what it reminds me of? It kind of reminds me a little bit of a more primitive version of the Polynesian resort. Looks like you could rent golf carts here as well if you're staying at the resort. Told that down that way there are quite a few bars and hotels, and that's primarily what it is. I will say that I've noticed already walking through some of the areas that I have, it is kind of hard to do much filming. A lot of the people are calling to you as you walk past, trying to get you to come over and check out some of their wares. If you don't want to stop in and purchase anything, some of them will follow you. I think it's aggressive, but not like they're gonna grab you or anything like that. It's just the culture. I have probably been asked 5 times in the last 3 minutes to step into one of the stores back there. They all sell generally the same thing. It's magnets, t-shirts, hats, sunblock, things like that. Like I said, it can be very aggressive, so just know that if you come out, that will be part of the experience. And that being said, I believe I'm going to come back in and just kind of chill for a while. And so, once again, from Costa Maya, Mexico, home of Costa Maya Christmas, and obligatory amounts of tequila, and vaguely obscene-looking rules, I sincerely hope that you enjoyed our little adventure today. If you did, certainly would not mind you reaching down below and essentially tickling that like button, maybe popping the subscribe button in the mouth a couple of times. Well, just one time, 2 times we don't subscribe you. So just do it one time. Wrong country. And I ask kindly, if you so choose to, of course. And I hope you'll join us from our next tropical paradise as we do just a little Splorin.